How does a runner celebrate their 17th birthday? I will tell you how by doing a 17-kilometre long run. Yes, that's right guys, in today's video, to celebrate my 17th birthday, in today's video, we will be doing a 17-kilometre long run. Now today's run is not just going to be a birthday run, but it's also going to be a time trial. So for today's 17-kilometre, we will be doing that and a baseline effort for a longer distance run, which will be hopefully an average of 4 minutes per kilometre. So yeah, we're going to be trying to stick to around that 4 minutes per kilometre for 17 kilometres, and we're just going to be doing it today on our birthday to mark the occasion. So if you guys do enjoy the content you see on the channel, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. And with that being said, let's get into the video. So one of the presents which I got for my 17th birthday is a brand new pair of the Nike Alphafly 3s. And now this shoe right here is designed for long distance racing. So your 10 miles, your half marathons, even the marathon, this shoe does the job. And because I got it for my birthday today, and I will be wearing this for the 17-kilometre long run, I will be wearing that Alphafly 3s for the first time ever. So hopefully this shoe, its extra bit of bounciness, will help me in sticking to my goal pace of 4 minutes per kilometre. Now, I've never done a time trial like this before, going for such a long distance, such as 17 kilometres, for such a hard effort at 4 minute per kilometre pace. So today is going to be a real test to see, firstly, if I can do it, and this will help me progress in my training from here. So today, it will be quite a good baseline test. But yeah, with that being said, let's get the shoes on and head over to do our run. So my initial reactions of putting the Alphaflys on, they were quite nice. It feels like it's got quite a structured upper, which is something which I quite like to have. And also you can feel the foam. This is definitely going to be a bouncy shoe. So basically we're going for a little bit of a warm up now because we're treating this like a time trial pretty much. So just a 1 kilometre jog with some drills to warm up the legs for today's time trial. Three, 2, 1, and away we go, and we are now starting this 17-kilometre long run. Now starting things off, I had one thing in my head, and that was to make sure I paced myself. So for context, this 17-kilometre time trial was the first time I ever attempted anything such as this at this distance. In roughly just under 2 months, I will be completing my first ever half marathon at the Ipswich Half Marathon. This 17-kilometre time trial will therefore be a good baseline test to see where I am at with my half marathon training. So for context, my 10km PB is 36 minutes 29 seconds, which I did only a week earlier. Having this being my first ever hard effort run at this distance, my aim was to keep around 4 minutes average pace. But as you can see from the stats in the top left corner of the screen, I've gone slightly faster than what I wanted to do in the first few kilometers. I was going over 10 seconds per kilometer faster than what I wanted to do, and going off slightly too fast. Well, would I pay for this by the end of this run? Recently, I have had a lot of pacing issues in races where I've gone off too fast and paid for it at the end. So could this be another example of this happening? Especially with this being such a long distance for me, would my inexperience catch up to me, and would I pay for this by the end of today's run? However, at this early stage, all I had to do was remain positive, as any negative thoughts at this stage could limit my successes, and at the moment I had to have the confidence, the belief that I could do this current pace for the whole time. Now one thing to mention is that I am doing this time trial in the town of Kesgrave, and I've designed a 4-loop course which I will be doing. This could help me mentally because I could split the run up into 4 different sections of 4-kilometre loops to help me stay motivated, and see I still didn't have over 13 kilometres still left to do. Now coming to the end of lap 1, my form was still going very strong at the moment, and as you can see on the screen, the arms are moving quite well, and I feel keeping this form for as long as possible will help me keep the pace for as long as possible. I still had a tiny little thought at the back of my head saying that I was gone off too fast, but still at the moment I was feeling strong, I was feeling good, so we persisted forwards. Looking back at these clips, it doesn't look like I'm actually going that fast, but trust me, when I'm running this pace it feels like I'm like a Formula 1 car. And there we go, coming through at the 5-kilometre split. That means that we've just done 5 kilometres in 19 minutes exactly. That was a whole minute faster than the target which I set myself before this run. Now this could mean two things: either A, I'm going to be absolutely cooked by the end of this run, or B, I'm about to absolutely smash my target pace. On this second lap I was expecting to slow down slightly, but to be honest with you, I was still feeling relatively strong now. Naturally my legs were starting to feel slightly heavier now, but at this current stage my splits were still remaining below the target pace of 4 minutes per kilometre, so therefore I needed to use that little bit of birthday magic to persist forwards and continue grinding out those splits. Now one thing which I do need to remember for this course is that it is relatively flat with only a few hills coming out of the underpasses. Unfortunately the Ipswich Half Marathon isn't quite the same, and unlike this run today there is quite a big hill coming up in the Ipswich Half Marathon. So therefore in the next 2 months I will definitely need to do quite a lot of hill training, so if you're from the towns of Kesgrave or Ipswich or the surrounding area, if there's any hills which you recommend me to run up, please feel free to comment them down below. But now focused on today, I was quite amazed by simply being able to do the pace which I am currently doing. Coming towards the end of lap 2 and roughly halfway through the run now, I was still amazed that I was keeping my splits below target pace. And one reason which could suggest this is because of the shoes which you just saw on the screen, which was the Alpha Fly 3. The Nike Alpha Fly 3 is actually one of the presents which I got for my 17th birthday this year, so having saying that, this is my first ever one wearing them. So yeah, today I was breaking them in on the 17-kilometre long run because I've got these shoes specifically for the Ipswich Half Marathon in September, and wow, what can I say, these shoes are truly amazing. Coming into lap 3 I was starting to tire quite a lot now, but coming back onto the footpath I found that little bit more energy to persist forwards and continue increasing the speed. And quite simply I think at that point if I didn't have the Alpha Flies on I would have been cooked, and that would have been me done for today's run. But luckily we did have the Alpha Flies on, and if I will be truthful with you, by this point I was in a lot of pain now. However, we only have 5 kilometers left now, so now I'm more determined than ever to stick in for those final few kilometers. And while the Alpha Flies definitely did help, the shoe has got a carbon plate in it, and with 2 air zoom pockets in the front of this shoe, or this shoe definitely propels you forwards. Now at this point I'd like to give a big thank you and shout out to my friend Jason, who you can see on the left is on his bike. He got the vast majority of the clips for today's video and my dad got the rest, so I'd like to give a big thank you for both of them for working hard to getting these clips done for today. Quite simply, this video would not have been made if it wasn't for them two recording today, so thank you very much. Now we're finally on to lap 4, meaning that we have less than 4 kilometers of the run left to go. In the first 5 kilometers of this run I was thinking to myself there'd be no way I'd still be maintaining this pace in the last 5 kilometers of the run, but somehow today I had managed to lock in and maintain the pace throughout for the 17 kilometers to still be under a sub 4 kilometer pace by this point in the run. There is no way on earth that I would have said today's run was easy, and I definitely worked extremely hard to get where I am now. But what I'm saying is if you can lock in and find that rhythm, then I feel that would definitely help you conquer these longer distances. By this point I could see the end goal in sight, and I knew that I could probably jog the rest and still be below the target pace. But there was no way, with so little left to go now, I was going to be dropping the pace any more than 4 minutes per kilometers, and we were going to lock in and give it everything we have right until the very end. My legs felt heavy, my lungs were burning, but with less than half of the final lap left to go, all I had to do was stick in for 2 more kilometers. To finish things off, let's roll the montage. boom, 17 kilometers is done.
Well guys, that was so tough, but we got it done. Average pace was 3:53, so we're above what we wanted. So I'm very happy with that. I felt pretty consistent throughout. At the end I was dying, but we managed to stay in there to get it done. So yeah, Strava will be on the screen there. But yeah, overall I'm super happy with that. Shout out to my dad and Jason for filming me, because this video wouldn't be possible without them. So thank you very much for filming me today. But yeah, 17 kilometers done, and that is very good signs for the training for the half marathon.
I mean, that is one way to celebrate your birthday, but I could not have done it without these alpha flies. These bad boys honestly are insane, and I'm still in disbelief, quite frankly, that I managed to hold that pace. But yeah, if you did enjoy that video, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.